Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. A religious leader in St. Lucia calls for more respect in the Parliament. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 8th February 2022. Details when we return.
Conveniently located in the Grand Anne Shopping Centre, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grandans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Welcome back. Public cries for a greater level of decorum among parliamentarians during sittings of the House of Assembly continue after Tuesday's meeting. According to Chairman of St. Lucia's Christian Council, Christian Glasgow, parliamentarians should have greater respect for the House of Assembly and the viewing public. Jason Darius of the DBS News World reports.
Archdeacon and Chairman of St. Lucia's Christian Council, Christian Glasgow, has called into question the behavior of parliamentarians during what he terms, quote, spirited debates, unquote, in the House of Assembly. Glasgow's comments come on the heels of a recently concluded parliamentary sitting, which saw sections of the public calling for a greater level of decorum during the debates. The chairman of the St. Lucia Christian Council says members ought to regard the House of Assembly as the pinnacle for maintaining respect for authority.
Both the parliamentarians, the debaters, and the Speaker must do so against the backdrop that the House of Parliament must be a bastion of integrity, and it must be the model of respect for authority. When the debaters proceed with the business of debating, they ought to be guided by the words of the prayer, which they say every day to begin every sitting of the House. And in fact, some of the words actually go like this: always having before our eyes and laying aside all private interests, prejudice, and partial affection, the result of all our counsel may be to the glory of the blessed name and the maintenance of true religion and justice, the safety, honor, and happiness of the Queen, the public weal, peace, and tranquility of St. Lucia.
The Archdeacon says precedence has to be given to these guiding principles. He says parliamentarians ought to remember that they are in the spotlight, and their actions ought to be guided by that fact.
But among other things, I saw a debate that took place with a lot of emotions involved in it, a heated debate. But I also saw a speaker who tried to apply the rules equally to both sides of the debate. And for the most part, I saw debaters complying with the rulings of the speaker. Yes, they were heated at times, and yes, there were some terms which were not parliamentary acceptable, and many of them withdrew it even before being called upon by the speaker to do so. However, all parties must bear in mind that this is global, and as such, all eyes are on the Parliament when they sit, and as best as possible, seek to function within the parameters of good governance, good behavior, for you are the example of this nation.
Archdeacon Glasgow continues to implore those in leadership positions to be shining examples of what is expected in St. Lucian society. For the DBS News World, I am Jason Darius.
In Antigua and Barbuda, the government there anticipates tourism arrivals will increase in 2022. More in this ABS News report with Jamie J. Roger.
Tourism is still this country's largest driver of economic output, but the sector was dealt a severe blow by the pandemic in 2020. Tourism Minister, the Honorable Charles Fernandez, says the government is now building on a 16% growth the sector recorded last year.
2021 was a very good restart for us, and we believe that 2022 will be as equal to 2019, which was a record year.
That year saw more than 300,000 stayover arrivals. Meanwhile, the government has almost completed dredging in St. John's Harbour to welcome the world's largest cruise vessels. Minister Fernandez says the first Oasis-class ship could visit the country in April this year. But he says the country's success in attracting many cruise vessels has inadvertently delayed the dredging work.
When you have 4 or 5 ships in, they tell the dredge, well, look, you can't dredge the turning basin today because we're having 5 ships and they got to turn around, so they lose a day.
He's hoping they'll complete the dredging by late March, and the minister says he's meeting with Royal Caribbean next week.
That will be to update them as to where we are with the whole dredging aspect of it, and to hopefully pin down an exact date for the Oasis class to come in.
Jamie J. Rocher, ABS News.
Antigua and Barbuda's Health Minister Malwin Joseph provides an update on the national COVID-19 response.
Health Minister the Honourable Sir Malwin Joseph praises the country and its healthcare workers for the work done so far in the battle against COVID-19.
We had to start from the scratch, as they say, from the very beginning. And right now, we have people trained, we have the system in place.
Testing, he says, in the coming weeks will be significantly revamped.
We are acquiring additional 2 pieces of equipment, that's the extractors. And when they arrive in Antigua and Barbuda, we'll be able to test about 4 times the rate that we are testing now.
While not in a position to provide a timeline, the health minister also indicated efforts to improve the country's testing capacity so as to allow for the testing of the Omicron COVID-19 variant in country continue. At present, Antigua and Barbuda enlist the services of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, or CARPHA.
That is, frankly, not as critical in my estimation as the importance of being vaccinated.
The World Health Organization has set a goal for all countries to have at least 70% of their populations fully vaccinated against COVID-19 by the middle of this year. Antigua and Barbuda is a few thousand people away from achieving the target. However, vaccination numbers have largely stagnated in recent weeks.
One of the things I believe that's working against the vaccination program is that people are eager to see the back of COVID-19. People have COVID fatigue. We want to see the end of this restriction.
The Health Ministry, he says, will ramp up its public education drive in an effort to boost vaccination numbers.
This is new for the entire world. And the fact that Antigua and Barbuda leads the CARICOM states in the rate of vaccination speaks well for Antigua and Barbuda. And I'm optimistic that we will succeed in getting up to the 70%. Obviously, there is a little lull, but we have to work to get to the finish line.
Rakib Aparicio reporting for ABS News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
The government's handling of the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago was a major focus of the opposition's press conference on Sunday. 2 members of the opposition raised concerns about issues such as safe public transport, the use of DNA, and the recent spate of killings in the Southland. Joel Brown of TV6 News fills us in.
During the opposition's press conference on Sunday, opposition Senator Sean Sobers raised particular concerns about a recent spate of homicides in South Trinidad.
As recent as yesterday now, in San Fernando again, so I don't know what it is with South. Why are they harassing South so? In San Fernando, again on a high street in San Fernando, the high street in San Fernando, you have a security guard, Andy Macias Hussein, being shot and killed in San Fernando.
On Saturday, 4 armed men wearing masks walked into Kitan Jewelers on High Street in San Fernando, hammered the glass showcases, grabbed the gold, and shot dead the 33-year-old security guard.
And I saw what the head of the chamber, business chamber, is saying, listen, this thing happened, he was on the high street, right, for about an hour, and no police patrol. You could pelt a stone from where this murder happened and crack the police station, San Fernando police station. You could take a brisk jog and meet the municipal corporation and municipal police station down there. This is a shopping center. This is a shopping street. A place of commercial activity on a Saturday morning, no less.
Senator Sobers also spoke about the recent double homicide that occurred at the popular South Park Mall in San Fernando. He said he listened carefully to National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines' speech at the PNM's virtual meeting on Saturday as the minister announced plans to deal with crime in Trinidad and Tobago. The senator highlighted the use of DNA.
Apart from it being utilized to find criminals who leave behind sweat and hair and blood and fiber and whatnot, to properly capture them, to properly utilize that information as evidence in a court to convict them, DNA can also be utilized to be able to say that the bones that have been found of this person actually belong to that person, and to bring some closure to these people, like Shade Emmanuel's family.
A reference to a point made by St. Augustine MP Khadija Amin, who said while the government did bring legislation meant to authorize the use of pepper spray by civilians as a means of self-defense, it is not yet a reality. She also spoke about the issue of public transport and a vigil held on Saturday evening.
We had over 150 people there at the foothills of Aripo. And there were women who contacted me and said, Khadija, I would like to attend, but I have to travel and it is not safe. So women are not safe taking public transport. And safe public transport is also an issue in this country because the government has withdrawn PTSC service from many rural routes, and they have no choice now but to rely on PH cars, and in many cases they put themselves at risk.
Joel Brown, TV6 News.
The Bahamian Prime Minister Philip Davis is assuring the media that his government is intent on bringing some structure to relations with the media. Eyewitness News has more in this report.
Prime Minister Philip Davis today defending his administration's openness to be questioned by local media. In fact, he's curious as to why there has been so much public discourse about the matter.
We are not anti-press. We welcome the press. And one of the things I initiated and implemented was a weekly press briefing.
That was just the start of his 7-minute explanation as to why media should take a step back and assess his administration's willingness to cooperate with media prodding. But he doesn't think that pulling ministers on the sidelines of cabinet meetings is the appropriate time and place for interviews.
It's very difficult to be focusing on going to a meeting of a cabinet meeting where weighty matters are being discussed, to be interrupted on the way to answer questions that sometimes you don't even know the answer to.
Since taking office, the Prime Minister established weekly press briefings on Thursdays.
And we're just trying to bring some structure so that whenever you speak to us, it'll be an informed discussion.
Conveniently located in the Grand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Granaries will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. The safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.